Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Landar Khan. And yes, as you all know, we provide information with regards to sports all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is @ Indus News Sports. That basically works both for Twitter and Instagram. But what we'll do, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, from the world of Pakistan versus South Africa, South Africa beats Pakistan by 17 runs in the second ODI. Its series is tied 1-1 for now. From the world of blind cricket, Pakistan beat India to win the triangular blind cricket series on Sunday. And from the world of NBA, LA Clippers win against the LA Lakers 104-86 on Monday. From the world of golf, Jordan Spieth won the Valero Texas Open on Sunday. And yes, those were the headlines. And not to forget that, Pakistan versus South Africa. Yes, the series is still on. Now it's actually been tied 1-1. And looking at the first match that Pakistan actually managed to win was pretty intense. But not to forget that yesterday's match was seriously thrilling. One of the major reasons, obviously, Fakhar Zaman's amazing performance, amazing batting lineup. With a bit of controversial end to his run out, we'll surely be discussing all of that, really, what happened in Pakistan versus South Africa. So to discuss all of this, we have with us our former Test cricketer, Yasir Arafat. Yasir bhai, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure. So firstly, congratulations on the first victory, and then we'll talk about the second one. So what's your take on the Pakistan lineup in South Africa against the Prodies?
I think if we talk about the first game, it was merely the brilliant performance from the captain, which is Babar Azam. He single-handedly won the game for Pakistan, and he showed again that how good and how important member of Pakistan cricket team he is, and he showed his class batting on the difficult condition against the top quality bowling. He showed once again that he has the class, and he's rightly so. He's the world's second best batsman in the ICC ranking. So overall, if you see Pakistani bowling lack a little bit of wicket taking abilities, but if you see the Pakistan batting, some of the other batsmen out of top 5 to 6 batsmen, I think a few of the other batsmen need to take responsibility and step up to perform well, to win against the tough sides of the world, especially chasing 300.
Right, and if we look it back, because obviously if we talk about Bavuma himself, it was his debut as a captain, and obviously he could not perform well in the first match. When we look back, he was out for 1. But then we look at his performance, how he was solid out there, managing to score 92 in the second game, and bringing the team up to score total of 341. What's your take on his captaincy now?
There's always pressure on any player to lead a side or to become a captain of a team. It's a big challenge for even you see when Babar Azam was appointed the captain, he struggled in the first few games, but he settled down in that role. Similar with Bavuma. We have seen while he was batting in the first inning, he struggled, but in the second game, he took his time on the crease. He played few balls early on, took his time onto the crease, and then when he settled, when he got his 50, then he played his shot all around the ground, and he showed how good player he is. So his inning in yesterday's game was quite key, because once he had the partnership, 100 partnership with de Kock,
right,
that's set a platform for the rest of the batsmen to go big in the end and put a big target, which is 300 plus against Pakistan. So Bavuma innings was the key yesterday against Pakistan.
Right. And if we look back into Pakistani performance, because to be very honest, when there was a lot of fall of wickets, and obviously the team was going down with regards to the performance side. When Babar Azam got out for 31 of 33 balls, and even Asif Ali, I mean, like, a lot of people that we were actually looking at, realistically, if you look back, there was not more of the phenomenal performance, but I think single-handedly, Fakhar Zaman managed to do so. What's your take on his superb performance on taking Pakistan even over 300?
See, as I mentioned, that you can't chase big target, which is 300 plus runs, by only one guy scored more than 100 runs. So you have to, top 5 batsmen or 6 batsmen, at least 2 to 3 batsmen. If you look at South African batting lineup,
Right.
3 to 4 batsmen of their team scored more than 50 runs. Van der Dussen got 50, David Miller got 50, and that too in that 150 strike rate. So we need our players to step up, take responsibility, and if chasing 300 runs, you have to have 2 to 3 batsmen scoring more than 100 or at least 70 or 80 runs to chase that kind of a big target. So Pakistan is lacking at the moment. The performances from the other players. If you see the first game, Babar Azam was the only guy who scored 100. In the second game, we saw Fakhar Zaman got 100. So other batsmen needs to take responsibility if you want to win these kind of matches.
Right, absolutely agreed. And if we talk about the bowling lineup, we'll firstly talk about the bowling lineup of South Africa. I mean, like, when it came to not just starting the short balls, I think all of our batsmen still incapable to pull off what they truly could on the shorter deliveries. What's your take on that? We still have that error of not being able to, get our bat right there on the short ball.
I think Pakistani players or Pakistani batsmen has a history of playing bad against the bouncy or the pacey pace, which we have seen in these two 50-over games.
Right.
Nokia, everybody knows he's a good bowler. He got pace. He bowls. His average pace is 90 miles an hour, which is quite expressive.
Right.
So Pakistan always struggle against bounce and pace. So Pakistan need to come up with a different game plan, playing square of the wicket a lot, cut and pull, which is Fakhar Zaman. That's why Fakhar Zaman was so successful in the second inning, because he was playing square of the pitch. Anything short of length, he goes against that ball, and then managing to convert those balls into boundaries. Whereas rest of the players were struggling, pulling the ball or cutting the ball. So we need to come up with a proper strategy against these kind of pace and bounce.
Absolutely. And even if we look at Rabada's bowling, itself, if you look at the score lineup, in 10 overs, he actually managed to get 43 runs but 1 wicket. His bowling lineup was so spot on that our batsmen just could not pull that extra spark, because I think, as you mentioned, it's very difficult for one-man show to come up out there and perform like Fakhar Zaman did. If there was only one batsman who was probably in line with Fakhar Zaman, I think we would have definitely won the match.
See, the technique of Pakistani batsmen playing on docile pitches and flat and turning pitches. Pakistan always have a problem against on these bouncy track, whether you go to Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa.
Right.
So what we need to do now is the domestic cricket we played on. We should prepare some kind of a pitches which has some bounce or pace, so that we can prepare good enough against these kind of bowlers. And overseas tours like SENA countries, when you go abroad, you always struggle against pace and bounce. So what we need to do is play our domestic cricket on the kind of tracks which has bounce and pace. So that's the only way we can improve on these issues.
Right. What's your take on let's talk about the last few overs that were actually left, and the pressure that was on the South African team, and how Fakhar Zaman was still struggling and trying his level best. Let's talk about that run out, because there's a lot of controversy out there, but I personally think, and as discussed with you earlier, because I see it more as a smart cricket. But what's your take on that? Because some people are like talking about the rules and regulations of cricket, that you cannot deceive a batsman. So how do you see that controversy and that run out? Because de Kock actually, pointed somewhere else, and Fakhar Zaman kind of focused on that. Besides that, he got himself run out. What's your take on that?
Yeah, in my point of view, it can be interpreted both ways. I mean, if you see the MCC rulings, what they say in the rules in the books is that I've got that here in writing, that a fielder willfully attempting to distract, deceive, obstruct either batsman after the striker has received the ball. Right. So in that case, if you see as a cricketer, I can see de Kock was not on a wrong side, because he has the right to, Fakhar Zaman played that ball onto mid-off, right, and he was running for 2 runs. And similarly, the keeper straight away, when Fakhar was completing his first run, he says immediately signaling to the bowler, what you call a fielder or the bowler, to back that throw from the fielder. Right. So I don't see any issue, or shouldn't be any controversy in that, right, because de Kock was on his right, because he can, signal his fielder or the bowler to True. Back that ball. So I think if you see the press conference from Fakhar Zaman, he himself saying that it was his fault, it was his responsibility to complete that run, instead of making that issue or highlighting that issue.
Right. But anyways, we still should congratulate Fakhar Zaman on his 193 for 155 balls. I think that's the highest score done on that field.
Yeah, obviously it was a brilliant inning, and Fakhar is a player who already got 200 against Zimbabwe back, I think 2-3 years ago. He got 200 in a 50-over game. So again, there was so much criticism on Fakhar's selection, especially in 50-over format, because he was doing well in T20, but 50-over he was not performing, or he was struggling with the form. But him scoring that big inning give him confidence, and the rest of the players, that if Fakhar can score that kind of an inning, why not us? So it's going to be a good message for all of the teammates, all the team members. So looking forward for the third one day, I think it's going to be a good contest. Although South Africa is going to miss their 5 key players going into the IPL, so Pakistan has the edge for the last and third game to clinch the series and get more points for the ICC T20 format for the World Cup.
Right. So, Yasser, what we'll do is we'll take a quick short break, and once we come back, we'll have a quick final word from you, and maybe we can have an ending to where Pakistan versus South Africa is heading. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. Yes, we were discussing Pakistan versus South Africa, and we still have Yasser Arafat with us. So Yasser, I would want to talk about, now the series is tied 1-1. How do you see the final ODI, which would obviously establish either Pakistan or South Africans as the champions for the ODIs?
The third game is going to be played in Centurion, where the first game was been played. Right. As I mentioned earlier, that South Africa is going to miss their 5 of their key players, which is David Miller, Quinton de Kock, Nokia, and Rabada, and one of the other guy, I'm not sure which is the 5th one. But right. Having said that, South Africa is still a very competitive team. As you've seen, when they toured Pakistan in the T20, in the T20 back in Lahore, so they give us a tough time. So you can't take these games granted since they are missing their 5 key players. Having said that, another bad news which we heard this morning, that Shadab Khan is he got injured while batting in the second game, and he's out of the remaining matches. So there's a big blow to Pakistan, but it's going to be a good game. The pressure will be on both teams, right. But whoever plays best on the day will win the series.
How much impact do you see this ODI will have on the T20s that would be following up after the ODIs?
Obviously, any win or any victory is a big morale boost for the team, for the players. Right. And if we go into that T20 series with the 50-over series win, that definitely give a lot of confidence to the player. And T20 is a totally different form of cricket. You have a lesser number of overs. you have a chance to express yourself, play your shots. There's less pressure on the players. So
Right.
hopefully Pakistan will do well, as Pakistan is renowned for its T20 skills. I'm sure after winning this 50 over series, Pakistan will do well in that T20 as well.
Well, surely looking forward for that, Yasir. One more thing, obviously talking about the sport itself, let's talk about a quick news on the blind cricket side with Pakistan beats India in the triangular blind cricket series on Sunday in Dhaka. What's your take on that? I think that's another phenomenal achievement with regards to the sport itself.
See, any win or any victory or at any level, playing at club level, regional level, or even international level,
Right.
and especially against against India,
Right.
is always a great news for Pakistani fans, Pakistani lovers.
Right.
So it's a great thing, and I think Pakistan government should give a lot of prizes to those players who won that tournament and did well for Pakistan. And raise Pakistan's flag
Absolutely,
there in
absolutely, Yasir. Thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the world of cricket.
Thank you.
So yes, now we'll be talking more about the world of basketball. Yes, with regards to the NBA side, and yes, for that we have Trevante Antonio Williams joining us, who's a professional basketball player who's been sporting for a long time. Before going to Portugal, he was actually playing for San Francisco Rams. Trevante, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Pleasure, man. So Trevante would want to talk more about the first match that I would want to discuss would be the LA Clippers, their victory against the LA Lakers, 104-86. What's your take on that one?
Right now, the Lakers got a couple guys injured, so they're not at their best right now. But the Clippers are a real good team, so that victory was pretty. I wouldn't say easy, but it wasn't going to be that hard.
Right. What's your take on Kawhi Leonard, who actually managed to score 19 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists? Because obviously it's always a combination when it comes to the execution and scoring in the game.
Yeah, Kawhi Leonard's one of the best basketball players in the world. So for him to go out there and put those numbers up, that's kind of regular for him.
Right. What about the point guard? Let's talk about Rajon Rondo, who actually joined in Clippers for the first time after getting into their team. It was his debut match. What's your take on that one?
I think I think that's good for them. He's one of the best point guards to play the game, and it's just a great thing for him. I think him going to the Clippers is a big push for the Clippers.
Right. So what you think is, because when we look at the Western Conference, Lakers actually stand on the 5th place, and the Clippers are on the 3rd. Do you think Lakers would make their comeback, getting up the spots soon?
Yeah, when they get their guys back, their 2 best players are hurt right now. So when they get their 3 good players are hurt. So when their guys get healthy, I think it'll be a different story.
Right. There have been a lot of injuries during this season. Why is that? Because if we look back into, even if we talk about the Nets, there have been so many injuries. If we talk about Stephen Curry, he also got injured. If we talk about Kyrie Irving or maybe Kevin Durant, obviously not Kevin Durant, but major players really got hurt, major upsets. What's your take on that? Specifically the last one that took place when James Harden actually got injured for the Nets.
I think that's just a part of the game. Guys play a lot of games. There's a lot of games in the season. And I think when guys get hurt, it's just a combination of bad luck and just a part of the game that comes with it.
Right. Okay, I'll go over to the next game that I would want to have a quick word with you. Well, let's talk about Atlanta Hawks, who actually managed to win against the Golden State Warriors 117-111.
Atlanta Hawks are a real good team, and the Warriors haven't been as good as they used to be. They still got guys that they're missing in key pieces. So for it to be a 6-point win for the Atlanta Hawks, that's anybody's game. They're on the same level as a team. So I think that was anybody's game.
And looking into Stephen Curry's career, actually, he still managed to score like 37 points. And not to forget that he came back after the injury a few weeks ago. What's your take on that one?
He's an amazing player. He does great things, and I think that's just part of who he is as a player.
Right. And the third match that I would want to have a word would be the Pelicans, who actually managed to win against the Rockets. What's your take on them, for sure?
I personally think that the Pelicans are a better team. They've been together longer. They got better weapons. The Rockets are still figuring things out, so I think that's kind of an easy game for the Pelicans to win.
Right, right. So, Travante, I would want to know more about your experience as a basketballer. Obviously, you've had your experience playing basketball back in the US and now you're in Portugal. What's your overall experience of being in the field as a sportsman?
It's one hell of a thing, man. I think it's amazing to be able to travel the world and play basketball across the world. I think it teaches you a lot. You learn a lot from all the places that you can go and see. Um, I've been playing basketball for a long time, so it's been one of those things that you get paid to do something that you love to do. So it's amazing.
Right. So tell me something. How is the basketball world itself in Portugal? What are the takes? Do you have clubs? Do you have memberships? Do you guys have internal tournaments? And what part of team are you representing these days?
It's kind of just like they have their own Portuguese domestic league where there's about 14 teams in the league, and guys compete for a national championship and also 3 tournament championships within the year.
Right.
Um, I've been in Portugal for 4 years, so I'm kind of known here, and it's been a real good experience. It's like their own little NBA. Before Corona, there was a lot of fan bases, and it was nice. And, yeah, there's a lot of support. It's not the biggest sport, but it's growing to be one of the bigger sports in the country.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Travante Antonio, for being a part of the show and sharing your point of views with regards to the world of basketball.
I appreciate you.
So that was Tramante, who was actually all the way from Portugal, was discussing the world of football, the world of basketball with us. And not to forget that he's been a player for a while. He's been playing in the US, but he moved 4 years back into Portugal, and now he's playing there. He's pretty known, and as he mentioned, there are a few series, not obviously as big as in US or the NBA, but he still is out there. And definitely for a sportsman like him, the ultimate goal is to play the game and be in the game. And not only that, I think he would definitely look forward in the future to promote the game of basketball. But anyways, this was from the world of NBA. I'll quickly jump over to the world of golf. Yes, in the world of golf, as discussed earlier, Jordan Spieth was actually leading, I remember, since Thursday. But, as to discuss, he actually managed to win the Valero Texas Open on Sunday. And many, many congratulations to him. Not to forget that he actually shot 6 under 66 to win the tournament. And one of the reasons, if you remember, the last news that I gave you guys was Dustin Johnson, world number 1, actually decided not to join this tournament. And why was that? Because not only him, in fact, the top 10, if you look at DeChambeau, if you look at Justin Thomas, all of them decided not to take part in this tournament, allowing the newcomers, those who actually want to step up, those who actually want to improve and want to prove their mettle in the world of golf. Because when we look at the tiers, obviously Valero Texas is definitely below than the Masters, which is Masters tournament, which is actually starting from the 8th April. We've talked about this. It's more of a FedEx Masters Cup that actually is probably way higher than Valero Texas. So the top 10 golfers who actually decided to switch over and not play this, in fact, going to the FedEx Cup. So we're looking forward on the upcoming news with regards to the progress in the FedEx Masters Cup, which is actually going to happen from the 8th of April. So that was pretty much it from the world of golf as well. I think we've given you enough news. What you guys can do is surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports, which is actually both for Twitter and Instagram. Till then, take good care of yourselves, and bye-bye.